to the Coach's Corner. We are here at the Tivoli Tap House where they have great food and, of course, great beer. I'm Catherine Neitenbach, joined here with Connor Dockery. Connor, how was your weekend?
It was pretty good. I had to do a lot of work, but I did call one of the baseball games, and that was pretty fun. They dropped that game. That was the first of a doubleheader on Sunday.
Was it your first time?
It was my first time calling a baseball game.
That's super exciting.
It was fun.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I did. You can hear me for more in the future, but I think it was a good start for baseball.
Well, we look forward to it. Connor, who do we have today on the show?
Well, while it's still pretty cold out here in downtown Denver, the women's golf team, their season is set to start just around the corner. We're going to bring on head coach Stefanie Ferguson and chat with her about what we can expect this season. On the other hand, the men's basketball season is coming to a close pretty soon, so we're going to bring on head coach Michael Bahl and talk to him about the final regular season game, which takes place this Friday. And keeping the hoops talk going, we're going to bring on redshirt freshman Elijah Straughter and have a chat with him about how his first season with the team is going.
All right, Connor. Well, it sounds like we have a good show ahead of us. But before we get into that, we want to catch you guys up on what happened this past weekend in Red Runners sports. The baseball team hosted a couple of games with Lubbock Christian on Sunday afternoon. Sophomore pitcher Austin Stone pitched well in Game 1, but the Chaps stole away the 4-1 win. In Game 2, the Roadrunners got some incredible pitching from senior Javi Vega and from junior Logan Sewell, who combined gave up just 1 earned run in 10 innings of work. Sewell, who struck out 3 batters in 3 innings, also came through with the walk-off RBI to give his team the exciting 2-1 win. MSU Denver is now 4-4 on the season.
And how about some softball action as the Roadrunners took on Chadron State for a 4-game set at home. MSU Denver got stellar pitching from junior Darby McGee, who earned 2 wins and a save over the series. Freshman Lainey Shepard powered 2 pitches over the fence for a couple of home runs to lead the offense. It was a complete sweep by Coach Van Wetzinga's squad and now have won 6 consecutive games.
Let's hit the hardwood as our basketball teams hit the road this past weekend. After a tough loss to New Mexico Highlands on Friday night, Coach Bahl's squad responded in a big way, defeating CSU Pueblo 76-62. The bench was huge, racking up 35 points, including a team-high 12 from senior Enrique Cortez. There's just one more game on the docket for men's hoops as they take on Chadron State on Friday night.
Now for the women, and they took care of both games on the road over the weekend. After scoring 101 points in the win over Highlands on Friday, Jalen Smith continued to make history in their 5-point win over CSU Pueblo on Saturday. The senior guard handed out 7 assists and became the single-season assists leader for the women's basketball program. Great job, Jalen, and just like the men's squad, the women's team will play Chadron State on Friday to wrap up the regular season.
It was RMAC championship time for our indoor track and field team. They ventured to Alamosa this past weekend, and freshman Nick Nolan came away with some hardware. The Arvada native placed second in the men's 800-meter race, finishing in a time of 1 minute and 54 seconds. It was a personal best time, and it places them 11th overall in Division II. That's significant because the top 16 times earned spots in the NCAA championships. Erica Ruiz, who we had on the show last week, battled through an illness and placed 9th in the women's mile, while finishing 12th in the 5,000 meters. You can find all of the results at roadrunnersathletics.com, and we'll keep our fingers crossed in hopes of our athletes to earn spots in the NCAA championships in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Now we are going to bring on our first guest, Stefanie Ferguson, the head coach of the women's golf team. Stefanie, thank you for joining us on the show again.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me.
Yeah, of course.
So last time we had you on, we asked you about how you keep the athletes sharp during the off season. And since we have you back, and the first tournament is right around the corner this weekend,
Yep.
Are the girls back, ready, and sharp for this season?
You know, we're as ready as we can be with all this snow that's been on the ground. So unfortunately, most of our practices had to have been indoors, which isn't ideal for heading to play in California against a lot of California schools. But we've gotten a lot of good work on putting, which has been great. So hopefully short games will be good for this weekend. But it would have been nice to get out and play a few more rounds before we head out there. But it is what it is. So
totally understandable.
So we heard through the grapevine that in order to whip these girls back into shape that you took part in a kickboxing session with them. Tell us how that went and what was the process in having them do that exercise.
Yeah, so we've actually done a couple of kickboxing classes, and I think it's just good for, you know, mental toughness to be able to go. It's essentially like 45 minutes of interval training. So I've had a great time doing some kickboxing myself, and talked to the owners of the place, and we got the girls in, and we actually got Dr. Ran out to do some kickboxing with us, and Aaron Hiltner, which was awesome. So the girls have been having a blast with that, and it's just good to kind of get them moving a little bit, get their cardio up for when the tournaments start up.
Sounds pretty interesting. So Connor, if it were you and I and we went toe-to-toe in the ring, who do you think would end up on top in that situation?
That's not even a competition. That's not even a contest. I would get my butt kicked easily. You would destroy me. I would have no chance, but I would not want to find out.
All right. Well, it's the time of the year when the weather outside, as you said, is really cold, it's icy, and of course, as we've seen this weekend, it's really snowy. So when it's kind of like really gross out, do you stay going outdoors? Do you practice outdoors at all? Or do you really stick with the indoor?
I mean, if it's warm enough and there's no snow on the ground, like if it's above 40, we'll be outside. If there's snow on the ground, we're mostly inside. You know, we'll hit into the nets. We do some putting work inside. Nothing crazy. We do a little bit of mental game work this time of year, just kind of working on course management, things like that. But it's unfortunately a lot indoors right now, which isn't ideal at all.
So indoor training is one thing, but what's it like to not be able to get out there on the outdoor course and train, especially as your squad gets closer to the first tournament?
Yeah, I know the girls aren't probably as confident as we'd like them to be going into this first tournament, but we're going to use the practice round and just really try to get them as ready as possible, work on their short games, work on that course management, and just manage their expectations as best as we can, because this one's going to be kind of just see where we are since we haven't gotten to play a whole lot, and then we'll turn around and go to Texas next week, and hopefully by then we'll, you know, have a couple rounds on our belt and be a little bit better off. So it is what it is. It's just going to kind of see where we are with this week. So it's all we can do.
Correct. So before we talk a little bit more about the spring, I want to bring up the fall. So can you give us some thoughts about how that went?
Yeah, I mean, we had an interesting fall. We had a couple players that we had some injuries and some different things so they weren't able to play as much as we would have liked. So I would say for the most part, the team didn't perform as well as they're capable of. I think they've made some really good changes in the off season. We worked hard on some of the parts that were kind of missing for the girls. So I think it's going to be a lot better. Saw some good stuff. Overall, though, the tournaments didn't go as well as they should have gone or they could have gone. So lots of room for improvement this spring for sure.
Look forward to it.
Yeah.
So you told us Kika was named the team captain heading into the 2018-19 season.
Yep.
How has she done being that leader of the team, and what's it like to be the leader of the team while also trying to be your best on the field?
Right. Kika's great. I mean, she's just very mature for her age, and she takes initiative. She, you know, I don't have to ask her to do a lot of stuff, and she's just a great role model for the rest of the girls. So, and she works really hard on her golf game. So that's just kind of a natural thing for her. So I think it's a great role and something that hopefully the other girls will kind of take notice of and aspire to be as they get older and become upperclassmen.
So now we're going to bring up the spring season. So the first meet, as we said, is going to take place this weekend in California. You guys are going to take part in the Tim Tierney Pioneer Shootout. What are some of the things that you look into as a head coach when you're heading into the first meet of the season?
Yeah, so this one, we're actually going to take the full team too. So we're going to bring 5 normally play as like part of our traveling team, and then we're going to bring an individual. So we'll kind of get everyone out there, which will be really good. Just like I said, be able to see them since it's been a while since we've gotten to play like tournaments and see how they do on a few consecutive rounds. But I think just going to be watching course management and see how their short games are. It's bound to be a little rusty just because of the conditions we've had with weather here. So just kind of that kind of thing, and we'll just see how they can stack up against, it's pretty much all California schools we're playing against, so all the schools that have, you know, they don't deal with the snow so much this time of year. So just see if we can knock off a few of those this week and kind of go from there.
We can show them how Colorado natives do it.
I know, right? That kickboxing, that's why we did that. So we're ready. So.
Scare them with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Catherine, I don't know if you are as excited as I am for year 2 of Shanky the Shark.
Oh, yeah.
Year 1 was a blast. It was one for the ages. And are we going to see Shanky back for this season?
You know, he's special for our conference tournament, so he might make an appearance. I'm sure he'll have some like new like headgear or something fun going on, but I'm sure he'll make a reappearance at conference.
For those who don't know, Shanky the Shark is a little shark toy that they put on the front of the golf cart during tournaments, and it has a little good luck charm.
Yep.
Here we
awesome.
go. That's everything counts when it comes to winning those things.
Sure,
Those
yeah.
superstitions.
Oh, yeah. So, Coach, it is time of the night where we do Roadrunners trivia.
Oh, no. Okay.
You may or may not have heard about it, but we'll catch you up to speed on it. So,
Perfect.
every week we have one coach that we try to stump them by asking them a question within their department.
Okay.
And because this is your second time that you've been on this year,
Yep.
and your first time ever doing our Roadrunners trivia, we're going to give you a chance to get plenty of points tonight.
Okay, perfect.
So, Coach, are you ready for your first question?
I suppose, yeah.
All right. So, there have been 6 golfers in the program history who were named to the All-RMAC team in their careers. We'll give you a point for each golfer you can name.
Okay. Jen Hankins. Natalie. I don't know all their last names. I should probably know
We'll
that.
go on a first name basis.
Okay. You said there were 6 of them. Cha-Cha. Lindsay Gullickson.
Not on there.
That's probably as good as I could do.
Oh, wait,
Please.
Lindsay Gullickson is on there. That is 4.
Oh, sweet. That's probably my limit. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head.
All right, so that was 4 out of 6. That's actually really good. So the players were Natalie Gallacher twice, Allie Johnston, Cha-Cha, as you said, Jennifer Hankins, Lindsay Gullickson, and Meg McMullen.
Oh, Meg. I shouldn't have forgot Meg. My bad. Oh, man.
You know, 4 points out of 6, though, that says you quite well as a first-time coach.
Thanks,
you know,
thanks.
you're up in the rankings,
Sweet.
and next time you're on, you know, you'll have a little bit more time to get
I'll
through
study
that.
up next time.
Study,
I'll
get
be
extra
ready.
points.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were prepared. Well, Coach, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
coming on again and joining us, and great luck this weekend in
Thank you.
California.
Appreciate it.
So it's time for that first break, but stay tuned for what we have up next on the Coach's Corner.
Don't you worry, my child. Everything's gonna be just fine. Little darling, you keep on walking, 'cause I ain't never gonna leave your side.
As kids fall in love with sports, our universities are working every day to keep college sports safe, so you can watch them play with a little less worry and a little more joy.
Distracted driving kills.
What is distracted driving?
Distraction is any time you take your eyes off the road.
Your hands off the wheel,
or your mind off driving safely.
Sending or reading a text
takes your mind off the road for 5 seconds.
At 55 miles per hour, that's like driving the entire length of a football field.
Blindfolded.
It's extremely dangerous.
In 2014,
over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes.
Pledge to stop distracted driving.
Pledge to stop distracted driving.
Pledge to stop distracted driving.
I'm Jaron Taylor, senior forward for the men's basketball team.
And there's Jaron Taylor, so long. He muscles his way in for 2 points.
And you're watching Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
Welcome back. Before we talk with Coach Bahl from the men's basketball team, we want to tell you that you can enjoy a couple of delicious Tivoli brews in canned form. From their top-of-the-line Hellas Brew to their traditional Brutiful IPA, you can now enjoy those beers from the can, and you can purchase them from select liquor stores. Visit TivoliBrewingCo.com for more information. So, now we welcome on Coach Michael Bahl, head coach of the men's basketball team. Coach,
how are you guys?
Thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you for having us. This is my youngest daughter, Annie. So she's
Hi, Annie.
4 months old.
She is a cutie.
Well, Coach, Coach Bahl, all thinking he's Steph Curry bringing his daughter on the show, on the podium.
Hopefully make the questions a little bit easier.
At least she's too young. She can't be crawling around, and you know, like Steph Curry's daughter did.
No, but she is going to steal the show
adorable.
for sure.
She's adorable.
So we're going to get right into the questioning. You guys just had your final road weekend of the season, and we know that the road hasn't been really kind to you guys. You know, how tough are these types of road games?
You know, it gets harder and harder because these are the places that not a lot of guys have been to. You know, only 2 guys on our team's been to New Mexico Highlands before. So it gets a little bit tougher when that's the first time you've played in those facilities. But when you're on the road this time of year, when you're playing against teams that are playing for something just like we are, it always gets a little bit harder.
Oops, lost the question.
Technical
Stand by.
We got this.
So let's talk about the games over the weekend. We know, Highlands can get up and down the floor, but they're one of the leaders in RMAC points per game. They jumped on you guys early on, but you guys still did pretty good in the second half. But what did they do early on specifically?
You know, I thought they just, a couple of their key guys, you know, made some shots that we were going to live with as coaches. You know, they banked in a top of the key 3 from a guy who typically doesn't shoot the ball particularly great. And that sort of got them going a little bit. And then obviously with some of our younger kids, I mean, we had some costly turnovers that they converted, you know. And again, we just didn't shoot the ball incredibly well on the road. And when you don't shoot the ball well against a team like that, we got shots that we needed to get. It definitely matters, and I think it just snowballed on us. But I'm super proud of the guys in terms of the second half and our ability to hang in there and fight and show the resiliency that we've shown all year.
So after a tough loss where, you know, a team has triple figures in the scoring department, how do you get your team ready for the next night?
You know, you try to say forget about it. You know, even though it's hard when you don't play necessarily the way you wanted to play, especially in a big game on Friday night. But we have a resilient group. We've bounced back all year, and it was just really good to see that, you know, Enrique Cortez, a senior, you know, really stepped up to the plate and gave us a big burst off the bench, and that was definitely needed in a big game, you know, and that was our second road win of the year, which obviously they don't come easy, as we know. So I was very proud of the guys the way we bounced back on Saturday night.
And whatever the message was to the team after that game worked, as you guys went right into CSU Pueblo, a bit of a house of horrors for the Roadrunners historically. You guys were able to go there and get the win, a crucial win at this point in the season. It seems like no matter what the circumstances are, whether you're at home or on the road, no matter the difficulty of opponent, your team always seems to put up quite a fight.
Yeah, I think it's sort of the culture and the foundation we're building that, you know, we're definitely going to fight to the bitter end no matter what the score is, no matter who we're playing. And it's good for these guys who've never actually experienced RMAC basketball play before to sort of go through a season like this. It's a little bit different. The travel's a little bit different. But I definitely think we've improved. I definitely think we've gotten better, which is something you want to see. And then obviously on Saturday night when we needed a big win, we definitely got the win we needed.
All right, so we're going to talk about that. The bench played a really big part in winning by probably only up those points by up to 35 points, and that included a team high of 12, as you said, from Enrique Cortez. What did you see that made the big difference for your team? Oh, we got another joiner here. We can scoot over.
Here,
we can get everybody. Oh!
Oh, no.
Oh.
Oh, no.
She's okay. She'll be okay. Mom's here.
Mom to save
We're
the
okay.
day.
Lots of technical difficulties. Maybe we'll try a little bit later. So what made the difference, big difference for your squad during that game?
You know, I thought, you know, Jacob Inkland did a great job coming off the bench, and he made 2 quick early shots, 2 quick early threes. It's sort of been the MO of our team. If we can get 1 or 2 shots to fall early, you know, it definitely makes a world of difference. And I think Jacob did a great job coming off the bench with that spark. Then Enrique Cortez definitely followed after him.
So unfortunately, we've been hearing the tough news that even if you guys win on Friday night, it's going to be pretty tough there based on the tie-breaking rules in the RMAC to qualify for that postseason. While we're sure it's disappointing the program with you at the helmet and as you said, building a foundation moving forward, we're sure that you have a plan back together that will continue the success that we've been seeing in flashes this season.
Yeah, I think so. I think you know, you don't play necessarily, you know, all the games in terms of whether you have a chance or not. You play because we're still trying to get better. We're still trying to find our identity as a team, and we only lose 2 seniors. You know, so we return a majority of our team. So we want to set the culture that, you know what, every game matters. You know, whether it has playoff implications or not, every game matters, and we want to make sure we continue to play the right way. I think over the past month, you know, we've definitely been on a big upstride in terms of how we've been playing. So I'm super proud of that. And like I said, I mean, we're here to compete on Friday night. And I know the guys are going to be ready at senior night. And you never want to make sure, you always want to make sure you have the seniors, you know, in on the right note.
So we're going to have Elijah on the show a little bit later, and he is from Fresno, California. And as we know, you got some ties to California. So can you tell us about how you ended up finding Elijah?
You know, Elijah was a kid that was really under-recruited out of high school. He had a couple different opportunities, but we were fortunate enough that Lucas Gabriel sort of had a tie with the area. And he was recruiting Elijah before he became an assistant coach here for me last year. So it was really cool to have him, you know, be available late, because I did get the job pretty late. So we were very fortunate to have a kid like Elijah. And the thing you're going to see about Elijah, not only is he a really good basketball player, he's just a better human being. He comes from a really good family. Mom and dad both, you know, raised him the right way, and he's very respectful. And we're just very lucky to have him around for the next three and a half years.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on, and good luck once again with Chapman State this weekend.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Of course.
All right, everybody, it is time for that break, but stay tuned. We're going to bring on Elijah from the men's basketball team next on the Coach's Corner.
I'm Kyle Jones. I'm a junior this year on the cross-country team. You're watching the Coach's Corner, and get rowdy.
You're back here with Connor and Kath from the Coach's Corner. And before we bring on Elijah, we want to remind you that if you are missing out on all the great feature stories, game recaps, highlights, and interviews, then you're not following us on Twitter. You need to follow Roadrunners Athletics at MSU Denver to get all the great content that we have for all those Roadrunners fans. We had a lot of great moments from baseball and softball, which included a couple of home runs by softball freshmen.
And how about that walk-off by the baseball team on Sunday? So follow us on Twitter at MSU Denver Sports, and you'll never miss a single moment.
So now we are going to bring on redshirt freshman Elijah Straughter. Elijah, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
So we saw at roadrunnersathletics.com that you were actually majoring here at MSU Denver in communications, which we thought perhaps maybe you should be hosting instead of us if TV is your type of thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal one day. I'd like to do a sports analysis, so.
There we go.
That's my dream right there. There we go. We could be working together on one of these shows one of these days.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe call some baseball games, call some soccer games. And
yeah, we got to bring them on.
So let's flip the tables a little bit here. We can have you ask us a couple questions for a little bit. We'll be the guests, and you'll be the host. How about that?
I like that.
All right.
Put us on the spot,
Hit us
Connor.
with some questions.
How long have you guys been doing this for?
You know, why don't you start off, Connor? You've been doing this the longest at least.
Well, this show I've been hosting for this season. This is my first full season, first full year, I should say, doing this show. But I've been doing the sports broadcasting gig with this school for about, this is my third year now doing it. So putting a lot of time doing it, and I hope it'll pay off in the long run.
You know, I've been doing it for a little bit less time. My major was originally meteorology, and then I ended up switching it about a year and a half ago. So I actually just started doing this last semester and started hosting here with Connor this semester as a mainstay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's got it down, Connor.
How was that? How was that for your first question experience on camera?
Yeah.
I think it was pretty cool. I liked it.
He can put it on his demo reel now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Save the footage, Eric.
Save it on there. Yeah, we got to save it. So can you tell us how you ended up here in Denver, Colorado? We heard that you came from Fresno. So why play basketball with the Roadrunners?
Yeah, you know, my senior year in high school, Coach Gabe and Coach Bahl started recruiting me. And, you know, I was fortunate enough for that. You know, they flew me out here on a visit. I enjoyed the campus, the facilities, and, you know, the tradition they really talked about. You know, that's something I'm proud to be a part of now.
All right.
So you redshirted last year as a freshman in your first season with the Roadrunners, and while it's tough to not be out there and play, tell us a little bit about what you learned and how different the game is here at the Division II level compared to the high school level.
You know, the physicality and speed is a lot different than the high school level, but, you know, I was fortunate enough to have some really good teammates and coaches to help me along that way. You know, Jaron and Enrique, our 2 seniors this year, I'm fortunate to have them returning, and it's been a good experience so far.
It's been fun to watch.
So looking into this past season, your team played in like a ton of really close games. It seems like every single week we're talking about you guys fighting into the final seconds. How does that feel as one of the people that's playing those games? You know, is it stressful? Is it exhilarating? Is it kind of melancholy?
At times I would say it can get hectic, so, you know, it's always good to stay locked in. You know, like you said, we've been in a lot of close games this year, and it's something we definitely learned from. And, you know, it always comes down to the little things. It could have been a defensive rebound, you know, a 50-50 ball we could have grabbed. But, you know, we're learning from it. It's a learning process, so it's something we'll be better with in the future.
And while the wins haven't come as often as your team has liked this season, do you see the plans that Coach Bahl is laying, not out for this season, but for the future, for the foundation of this program? And as a player, to be around that, you're just in your first season playing with the team. Do you see promise of what lies ahead for this program for you and your teammates?
Yeah, you know, I definitely do. You know, we're fortunate enough to have a coach like Coach Bahl who really cares about us, not only on the floor but off the floor also. And, you know, he really wants us to be the best we can be as players and young men, and he's guiding us in the right direction.
All right, good to hear. Love it.
So next season, what is something that you really want to work on for yourself? You know, you're only going to be a sophomore next year, but with that red shirt under your belt, you're going to be a little bit further along than most sophomores are. So is there something in this off season that you're going to be really focusing on for next season?
You know, I'm just going to be trying to focus on taking my game to the next level. You know, all aspects of my game. Offense, defense, you know, speed, everything I can improve on to put it into my game for next season.
Well, it's been fun to watch, seeing you throw down a few monster jams and see you swat away a couple shots. You're pretty good rebounder in just your redshirt freshman year. One of the top rebounders in the RMAC. So it's been fun to watch. I'm anxious to see what you can do in 2-3 years from now.
Yeah.
That would be really exciting to see. Well, Elijah, thank you again for coming on to the show. Maybe we can have you on as a special guest. I mean, you really should look into that. You did really well during this.
Thank you.
Kick off your TV career this way. Put that on your demo reel. Before we call it a show, we want to tell you what's coming up this weekend in Roadrunner sports. Elijah and his basketball team will have just one game on the docket this weekend. They'll host Chadron State at 7:30 p.m. on Friday night. The women's team will tip off at 5:30, so come on out to the Auraria Event Center and support Elijah and the rest of the Roadrunners as they'll be celebrating their senior night.
And how about some more home baseball and softball action this upcoming weekend? The softball team will host Colorado Christian for a 4-game set at the Regency Athletic Complex. Saturday's doubleheader will start at noon, and Sunday's game will get going at 11 a.m. And for the baseball team, they'll host a couple of teams this weekend. Colorado Christian and the University of Mary will come to town, as each team will get in 3 games under their belts. But keep an eye for a possible schedule change, because guess what? More weather is supposed to come in. Thanks, Colorado. So stay tuned on Twitter at MSU Denver Sports for any potential weather changes.
The tennis teams will hit the court this weekend. They'll head to Grand Junction this Friday to take on the Mavericks from Colorado Mesa. Both teams will get started at 2 p.m. Then the women's team will head to Colorado Springs to take on the Air Force Academy on Sunday starting at 4 p.m. And finally, Coach Ferguson and her squad will head west to compete in the Tim Turney Pioneer Shootout in Alameda, California. It's a 3-day event, and we wish the golf team and all our Roadrunners in action the best of luck this weekend. So that will wrap it up for this show. We want to thank our coaches as well as Elijah for coming on tonight. I'm Catherine Neitenbach, and we'll see you next week on Coach's Corner with Con and Kat.